Hello, everybody, and welcome to Early Stoppage MMA, where today we're going to be going through our UFC 311 picks and predictions. We're going to start off with the prelims. We're going to start with Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. So for me, my pick is I'm taking Jailton Almeida over Sergey Spivak. I feel like that's not very controversial because Jailton Almeida is a very dominant force. He was out wrestling Curtis Blades before he just got his head elbowed into oblivion. But, I don't think that's going to happen here.
Yeah. So I looked up the odds on this. I just pulled it up. So according to DraftKings, Almeida is a minus 455 favorite to Spivak at a plus 350,
I could see that.
which I agree with. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I 100% agree.
I do too. I will say, I wrote in my notes that I do think Spivak will look better than people expect. You know what I mean? Because, I think Spivak is a fine wrestler. He's more talented than most at heavyweight. But I still think he's going to get basically ran through. You know what I mean? Because being a
Yeah,
competent
he's the
grappler is
heavier
not
guy.
enough. Yeah.
He's the heavier guy, and I think it's going to be similar. I think Almeida's grappling is really good, but Spivak, in my opinion, doesn't look very bad. Like we see him fight often, and he's all right. He's good.
Yeah, I agree. I will say for this, I did put down that I think it'll definitely be a decision. I don't really see a submission coming from this either way. Neither of these dudes are really submission artists, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say. Well, Joe Tonameda kinda, but I don't. Again, Sergey Spivak's competent enough that I don't think he's going to get submitted by Jailton Almeida.
I agree. I think decision is likely.
Right on, right on. Anything else with this fight?
No,
Yeah.
I just saw that Almeida doesn't have any decisions though, so
Wow.
something to look for.
Well, all right.
Something to look for.
So moving on then, we'll move to the Peyton Talbot versus Ione Barcelos fight. I'm taking Peyton Talbot in this one. What are you
Yeah,
going with?
yeah. No, this is a Talbot. This is a Bo Nickel matchup. This is.
Yeah, I will say Barcelos is harder to finish. So, maybe Peyton Talbot will have a little bit more of a hard time, but even then, I do see Peyton Talbot winning this fight, submission or knockout. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be competitive at all.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna see a Talbot domination.
yeah,
They're hyping this guy up.
it's true. And it's so far he's lived up to the hype. Like Cameron Simon, that was a good win. It's not like he's fighting bums. And
The Simon win was impressive. I was really high on him, and that's actually how I found out about Peyton Talbot.
yeah, the
So
dude is the future. I'm very excited to see what he does, and I think this is just another sort of step before. Hopefully, after this, we can get some, I'd say, more competitive matchups. I think that would
there's a
be
lot of fights
beneficial.
at bantamweight for him that I'm excited about. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like
no, I think this is the perfect stepping stone into the exciting fights
yep,
to be competitive at 135.
yep. It'll be nice because then after this, we can move on to like Pedro Munoz, Cody Garbrandt, or even like Kyler Phillips if they really want to
Garbrandt
throw him.
Talbot would be sick.
Wouldn't it? That would rule.
That would be cool.
Oh, that would rule,
I'm
dude.
into that. I want that now.
Oh
That
man.
would be great.
All right. So our picks are Talbot, each of us.
Yeah, I'm KO. TKO.
You're going TKO. I'll take
Yeah.
submission just for fun.
Okay.
So
Sure.
then moving on from that fight, we'll go to the what was Johnny Walker versus Anthony Smith, aka Bogdan Guzkov. But now it's changed to Billy Elinkana. We don't know anything about this dude.
No. Yeah. I don't know who Billy Elikana is, but according to the UFC website, he's the favorite. Are those odds from the Johnny Walker fight? Possibly. I don't know when they updated him, but
Yeah,
I'm taking Guskov. If he's the underdog, put your money on Guskov.
yeah. I mean, Guzkov has a 100% finish rate, which is part of why I think it was so funny that they booked him against Johnny Walker. But
That's
you know,
fantastic.
it's hard, especially because this dude's coming in on like a week's notice. It's not much
Yeah.
time at all. Maybe he could get the better of Guskov if he's really talented, but just circumstantial, like timing wise, I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm gonna go with Guskov as well. I think
I,
I think I'll say by decision, just to play
yeah,
safe.
I haven't watched Billy fight at all. So I
Yeah,
have nothing to go off of. But you know what? Guskov finishes him. I don't know how, but I'm confident in that.
Hey, I like your confidence in him.
I'm confident.
All right, let's get on to this. What is one of the best main cards we've had for a pay per view in quite a while, just top to bottom. Uh, we'll start with first fight: Kevin Holland versus Rainier de Ritter. All right, this is where I'm going to take over a little bit.
Yeah,
I
I'm ready for this.
I have been following RDR for quite a while. I was a one championship kind of super fan back when they were actually half an MMA organization. Um, RDR was crazy because he was just this dad looking man that would just come in, have the goofiest like style, and just out of nowhere pull out crazy submissions. And that was like his thing. He was like as dangerous as Oliveira, but just could not strike for the life of him. It's just exceptional work. And so I'm very excited for this fight. It's like just a goofy on goofy matchup because Kevin Holland has terrible
Oh,
fight
no.
IQ, terrible fight IQ.
This is
So
gonna be great.
in my notes I put expect a lot of wild flailing because that's a guarantee in this fight.
I could totally see that.
Yeah, put that on your bingo card. You're gonna see some crazy flailing going on. Um, from watching RDR's entire like career in one, his whole thing is that he has this style where he just looks awful at every moment in the fight, lose pretty much all of it, and then just throw up like the craziest triangle, like inverted triangle out of nowhere and just choke a guy out. That's just how it works. That's how he won like half his fights in one. It was crazy. So
That's I Yeah, I don't have much to go off of here from RDR. But Kevin Holland is no slouch on the ground. So
yeah, I think it would be enough. But with
okay.
Reiner de Ritter, he actually is good at capitalizing off of mistakes, and I guarantee Kevin Holland will make mistakes on the ground. That's just like what he does. You know what I
That's
mean?
true. That's true.
He constantly
Will
puts himself in
will
bad positions.
Are you
So
confident in RDR's ability to get Kevin Holland to the ground?
yeah, absolutely. It'll be the ugliest. He might even have to pull him into guard, but if not, he'll like
Yep.
do a weird half judo thing that fails, but still somehow throws Kevin Holland onto like his back or side, and RDR will
Okay.
just wind up in top somehow. Maybe even get reversed, wind up in the bottom, and then have the advantage somehow. That's just how this man works.
I'm fine with that. I mean, so I just another stat. RDR has 100% takedown defense.
Yeah.
You think Kevin Holland wants to test that?
No. Kevin Holland will try to keep this on the feet. He's just going to
Yeah,
try
he
to knock
should.
RDR out because RDR's stand up defense is terrible. It is so bad. So my
Should.
guess is Kevin Holland's going to try to get him out of there. I'd probably try to get him out of there pretty quick. Um, but I think RDR is going to know that that's coming, and he might even try to like just clinch up to stop it, get him up against the fence, and hold him there.
Okay.
And like my thing is, a lot of people are giving RDR shit because he looked like poop against GM3, but that win was
Yeah.
impressive. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it was the perfect entry fight into the UFC for him.
oh,
And
absolutely.
I think Kevin Holland is a great second fight
Yep.
because if he looks good against Kevin Holland, most of the opponents that do look good against Kevin Holland go on to fight top 15 guys,
Yep.
which I think is the trajectory of this fight.
Yep. Well, and I think
So
it's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no. I I think this matchup's great, and they're both relatively big for 185.
Yeah,
So
it'll be
what's
interesting.
your pick here?
I'm going with RDR. I really do think he's going to get it done. I think Kevin Holland's going to make a dumb mistake, and RDR is going to catch him in a submission. I think that RDR, because of his fight with GM3, is being massively overlooked. Partly because, Reiner de Ritter doesn't look as good against competent grapplers, just because they can also grapple. But against strikers, like primary strikers, that's where RDR excels because he can just take them down and submit them because his jiu-jitsu is actually really good and weird. So, yeah, I'm
I can
picking
see that.
RDR all day on this one.
Really? Okay, I was leading Kevin Holland here. Uh, like I said, I haven't watched a ton of RDR, but I I think I'm a little more confident than you are in Kevin Holland's ground game. And I totally agree that he may make some mistakes, but are they going to be big enough for RDR to capitalize and submit? Who knows, right? And Kevin Holland is good. I really think he is good. So I'm taking Kevin Holland here.
All right, we've split. I will
We've
say,
split.
just to like final bits on this fight.
Sure.
Kevin Holland, I could, with Holland being dropped by Ollie Jacek in their last fight, I
Yep.
could see RDR landing the goofiest overhand right or hook that just rocks Holland and allows him to get
Oh
like the
no.
sloppiest takedown you've ever seen in your life.
No.
And if, make no mistake also, if Holland wins, it will be the most avoidable straight punch down the middle that just completely folds RDR. Like, I
That's
guarantee that is how he gets knocked out if that is the way it
I'm ready
goes.
for that.
So,
I'm ready for that, dude. Just from your breakdown here, I'm ready for this fight. I'm much more excited now.
oh yeah, no,
Because
yeah,
it's gonna be a goof off. It's gonna be
absolutely.
sick.
Watching
It's gonna be like
RDR
every
again
other Kevin
in,
Holland fight.
oh yeah, in one, I never missed this guy's fights because they were just insane. It just nothing about it made
That's
any sense. I don't know why he was a champion, but he was and he's good. So
it. I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Do you have an opponent for after Kevin Holland for RDR that you would like to see?
Jack Hermanson,
Oh
do
man,
that. If you're not
you
gonna
know
do
what I was
anything else
thinking?
with
That would
Jack
just
Hermanson,
be so amazingly fun. Michelle Pereira.
dude,
That
yeah.
would be that would be amazing.
Or honestly, Paulo Costa. Why not? Why
That's so
not?
true. That's so true. Could you imagine though? You're saying the craziest jab down the middle, avoidable punch
Yeah.
is gonna take care of RDR. Could you imagine Michelle Pereira in there throwing some backflips in? That would be great.
It would he would backflip onto RDR. RDR would go down hurt and then somehow get like a knee bar on him and win the
That would
fight.
be
Like
great.
that's just how it happens, man. So
He just lets him backflips and just
yeah.
grab that leg. All right, hey, I've been to that. Like I said, we're gonna split here.
Yep.
I'm taking Kevin Holland.
All right. Let's do it. We'll move on to the next one. Benil
Okay.
Dariush versus Renato Moicano. This is another fun one because I think we're going to be split on this one too.
I'm curious. Yeah,
Who are you taking?
Moicano.
Gotcha. And why are you taking Moicano?
He's a little bigger, right? An inch, whatever. Not much. They're genuinely very similar in size. I don't know. In my head, Moicano just feels like the bigger guy. That's really wow. But I don't know. I just don't like Dariush. I'm not too confident. He's been
Okay.
out a really long time, and then he fought Armin, and the Armin knockout really tainted Dariush in my head. Now every time I look at him, I just think of the one leg, cross that Armin
Yeah.
gave him, and so I don't know. I in my right mind, I can't pick Dariush in this. Moicano's looked great. He's been competitive, and he's been constantly fighting. Right, he's been the way more active guy in the past year. I don't know. I'm leaning Moicano here.
Okay.
So you're taking Dariush,
I
is my understanding.
I am the brave soul that is taking
Okay.
Dariush. And I also don't really
Wow.
like Dariush. I want Moicano to win, to be honest with you. I just think he's more
Really?
entertaining on the mic and more entertaining fight style wise.
No doubt.
I think I think Dariush is a bad matchup for Moicano. I think that a lot of the reason I think people are picking Moicano to beat Dariush is because of Dariush's last two performances, but you have to keep in mind like
Yeah.
in the Oliveira fight where he got knocked out,
Mhm.
he was doing okay before the knockout. Like it wasn't that bad. Before that he beat Gamrot,
Gamrot.
which was super impressive. And like he scrambled and was able to stay on the feet against Gamrot.
Yep.
I don't if Gamrot had trouble with Benil, I don't think Moicano's gonna be able to take him down. And like I don't think that wrestling just went away, especially because Benil's last two camps after actually his last three camps, including the Gamrot camp, were all
Yeah.
against grapplers. You know what I mean? It was Oliveira
It's true.
and Armin. And like with Armin, yeah, granted, I mean the dude got caught and just annihilated immediately. But he's
Still
had
one of my favorites.
oh yeah. He's had a bunch of time to recover though. He's taken time off, which I genuinely think at this point is good for him. And people talk about Dariush like he's a 50-year-old man, and they're the same age. Like Dariush and Moicano
I
are the
think that we
exact
talked
same
about
age.
that. We
Yeah,
talked about that. I thought Dariush was like 37.
everybody does. I thought
Yeah.
I did, and then I found that
Yeah.
out, and I was like, oh wow, okay,
They are the same age. That's why I said
yeah,
and I don't know if it's just something that in from what I've seen, but
yep,
when I watch Moicano, he just looks like the bigger guy. I don't looking at it, I can't really explain it, but Moicano just looks like the bigger, lengthier dude. Maybe because he has the, maybe a little scrawnier frame,
Yeah, and
but
that might be the case. But I do
oh
think
no, they're
Beneil.
1 inch difference.
Yeah, I
So
think Moicano's not knocking out Beneil. He hasn't knocked out like anybody recently.
really,
Yeah, no, and
it's gonna test the Jenna
he doesn't have
Dariush.
knockout power, um, like that. I think Beneil Dariush is gonna know that he has to be more careful, so he's gonna be keeping his distance. He's gonna be jabbing and kicking. It's probably gonna be a boring fight, to be honest with you. And I think he's gonna be
Oh
able to do
well,
enough to like stuff the takedowns, keep it on the feet, and just keep his distance and just kind of piece him up in the striking. Moicano's striking is not that good. He was getting smoked by Jalen Turner. The only reason he won against Jalen Turner was because Jalen Turner let him come back to life and win.
yeah,
I don't think he's taken Beneil Dariush down like that. I don't think Beneil Dariush's wrestling and grappling has just disappeared, even though he just, because he took a year off. Like, he still had camps. He was still training for it.
that's true.
So it's like, I just don't see that being the case. Yeah, that's my case.
I've been leading Moicano since this fight got announced, and I really think it is because of what I've seen from Dariush in the last 2 fights. I think you're right on the nose with that. Your take saying that his last 2 fights have kind of ruined that for Beneil, but then again, he's fought Gamrot, Oliveira, and Sarukian.
That's my
Moicano
thing.
hasn't fought anybody like that.
Losing to Oliveira and Sarukian are not bad. Like that.
Understandable. Yeah, no,
okay.
I mean, I'm excited for this fight. I hadn't really thought about it much until we talked now, but this fight is going to be. I'm excited, because this is a test for Moicano. I will say.
Yeah.
If Moicano gets through Dariush, I think it's going to be impressive because we've seen Dariush in there with those top guys, and he got finished in round 1 by both of them, but he looked okay against Oliveira. Not Sarukian. I can't give him anything for the Sarukian fight. That's it's a test. But
it happens.
The Sarukian knockout was fantastic.
It was a great performance from Sarukian. It's why he's in the main card, or I mean the main event.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna talk about him in a minute.
Yeah.
So
all right. Well then I think we've said enough. You're going Moicano.
Yeah.
I'm going Dariush.
We're split there.
We're splitting.
Are
again.
we split? Are we split here? Is my question. This is fun.
Jamal Hill versus Yuri Prohaska. Take it away.
Start with my pick. I'm taking Jamal. Is that crazy? First of all, this is the second place fight, right? We've seen these guys both in there with Poatan. I don't really want to see him back in there with Poatan. This, in my head, is the second place fight for the 205 division. And there's a massive difference between the champion and the second place. Number 1 contender, whatever you want to call it.
I agree.
But I'm taking Jamal in this. And I think it's going to be one of 2 things. This is going to be incredibly boring. Right? And it's crazy to say that a Yuri fight's going to be boring. Because even when Yuri was getting knocked out by Poatan, it was not boring. And Jamal Hill has some good finishes on himself. It's going to be, in my head here, it's going to be a boring fight, or it's going to be a Jamal Hill domination. Is that crazy? I don't know.
I don't really know.
I think it's going to, I don't see Yuri going out there and just flatlining Jamal Hill. But I could see Jamal Hill going out there and flatlining Yuri. But I think it's more likely we're going to get Yuri versus Jamal in there, kind of feeling each other out and, just kind of beating on each other. It goes to a decision. I'm giving it to Jamal Hill.
Yeah. So, you know me since we've met.
Yeah. I don't know your pick here.
I am a Jamal hater, I guess you could say.
True.
I have not liked Jamal for the entire time he's had his career. I've never really been that impressed with him. And to be honest with you, I'm picking Jamal. But
Wow.
I know. I'm only picking him because Yuri is coming off two incredibly damaging performances. If he wasn't coming off these performances and actually had a longer layoff, I would so confidently pick Yuri. So
Really?
confidently pick Yuri in this fight.
That's you've never picked Jamal. And
Yeah.
for reference here, I picked Jamal Hill to beat Boazan,
Yes.
which is
I
insane.
gave
But
you
looking back at it now.
so much shit for that too.
Yeah.
And
No, I was high at Jamal Hill.
oh yeah,
I can't really even tell you why, but I did pick him over Poatan.
that's
And I'm also still in the camp that that step after Herb Dean interfered was maybe a little uncalled for. But you picking Jamal Hill is crazy. I was not expecting that.
yeah. No, I think
How? How? I want to hear. How do you think this is
I
going to go down?
I don't think he'll flatline Yuri because I genuinely think Yuri is built so different that like
Yeah.
he got knocked out twice by Alex Pereira, and both times he wasn't all the way out.
Out.
You know what I mean? Actually, he's
That's
been
fair.
knocked out 3 times by him if you count the first fight. So
That's true.
and if Alex Pereira isn't knocking you out, like I think Alex Pereira hits harder than Jamal Hill. You know what I mean? I think Jamal Hill's
Yeah,
punching
I
power
think
gets a
that's
lot of. I think it's overblown
overhyped.
and overhyped
Okay.
because of how goofy the Johnny Walker knockout was. But like anybody can do that to Johnny Walker. You know what I mean? So
That
like
is true. Yeah, we've seen some cartoon knockouts from Johnny
yeah,
Walker.
so people
And I
talk
think
about
that is tops the list.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And like I get why people think he has such insane punching power, but I don't know if Jamal Hill actually has that like heavy hands. You know what I mean? I just haven't
Sure.
seen it yet. So, but I am kind of just apprehensively being like, yeah, I mean, he probably hits hard, and I just Yuri leaves himself so open. But Jamal Hill
Sure.
does as well. So like that's where I could totally see Yuri just like spinning back elbow, knocking Jamal Hill out.
Yeah, I will say that if Yuri was to win this fight, it would have to be something like that. It would have to be Jamal leaving up an opening and Yuri doing a weird kick or maybe, like you said, an elbow
Yeah.
and flatlining Jamal Hill. Because we've seen Jamal Hill go out, right? I mean, historically, like with Poatan.
Yep.
That was a crazy knockout.
Yep.
So I could totally see an elbow
Mm-hmm.
or a knee
Yeah.
or some kind of weird spin kick
Yeah.
on an opening after, round 2 or 3.
Yep.
I
Well,
could totally see that, but I have a really bad feeling that this is going to be a boring fight.
I do too because I think Yuri's going to be really careful. I think
Yep.
Jamal is also going to be really careful, and I think that
Well, they're both coming off of the CT special from Alex.
yeah, they are.
So I think the first round, right, is going to be a lot of feeling out. It's going to be a lot of okay, what are we doing here? What's the pace going to be?
Yeah.
We might see some action in round 2,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know how aggressive they're going to be, right? And I
Yeah.
think Yuri will be the aggressor in this fight.
Oh, yeah, I
Make that
agree
clear.
completely.
I don't think there's any way that we're
Jamal
going to
Hill
see
will be
Yuri kind of
walking.
shy away.
Yeah.
But I just feel like we're going to see some good punches out of Jamal. We're going to see some iffy movement from Yuri because he's going to be worried after coming off of what he's coming off of.
See, I think it'll be the opposite. I think the iffy movement's
Really?
going to come from Jamal. Yeah, I think Yuri's going to go out there warrior mentality like he always does. Not
He
even
does. That's true.
despite being really he should be careful. I don't think he'll be as careful as he should be. He'll be walking forward. Jamal
probably-
Hill will be walking backwards, crossing his legs, putting his like arms way down, overextending with his punches. And Yuri actually has good footwork, as weird as it is. And I think he
Yeah.
might be able to put himself in just the right position to hit Jamal Hill. You know what? I might be talking myself out of the Jamal Hill pick.
That's
Hmm.
understandable. That's understandable.
Mm.
I'm kind of I'm sticking with Jamal. I don't necessarily like Jamal Hill as much as I did, but I don't dislike Yuri. So
I
this-
love Yuri as just
Really?
weird. Yeah,
Okay.
and like I just love watching him fight. It's always so entertaining. He's so weird. So I'm trying to put my bias aside. You know what? I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna go Jamal Hill. I just think that Yuri's taken so much damage recently, and it's like, dude, you need to take a break. You know what I mean? And if he
Sure.
did take a break, I
And
genuinely think he could do it. But
That's why it's so weird to me that people are saying he should go to 185. And I think you might have been on this train a little bit.
I was,
But-
yeah,
Yuri going down to 185, right? After we've seen him get knocked out
Yeah.
like he did. And I get it that there's, I mean, I guess Alex was at 185, but there's not a puncher like Alex at 185. I think it's safe to say. Like, there's hard hitters, but
Yeah.
not Alex hard. So, I don't know. I think Yuri could totally do it, but after the knockouts, I'm a little skeptical. Because then he hasn't been draining himself. And so now if he does drain himself, what does the chin look like after the two crazy knockouts?
Well, that's my thing. He should take time off and then move down, was what I was thinking.
Okay, so you're saying take a year or so.
Yeah. And then, like,
Slowly.
slim down while you're taking that year off and recovering.
Sure.
Like, yeah.
Okay. I still get it, but I don't know if I think that's the best thing for him. I think he's great at 205. And I think that without Pereira, he's probably still the champ.
Yeah. I think I would agree with that.
Okay.
Another
Do you think there's a...
final thing with
Do you
Jamal
think-
Hill that I was thinking about
Okay.
too in this. I was
Okay.
thinking about this, and I think that Alex Pereira was the first power puncher Jamal Hill really fought, you know, with like skill.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Yuri Prohaska hits hard, like really hard. And
And he has the weird. He has the weird angles and stuff.
Yeah, when he has good punching
You might
power.
be talking me into Yuri.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Jamal Hill might not have that good of a chin. He just hasn't been
Yeah.
hit by somebody who punches that hard, and Alex Pereira finally
Easily.
did. But granted, you know, Alex Pereira is putting like everybody out. But
That's
I
true.
think Yuri Prohaska also, like, Yuri has shown that he hits really hard,
That's
and
true.
so I like maybe Jamal Hill actually doesn't have a very good chin, and Yuri could put him out. I don't know. I'm
This
going. I'm
fight's
gonna
gonna
stay
answer
with
all
Hill.
the questions.
I'm gonna stay
Okay,
with
I
Hill.
was gonna ask one thing and then we can move on.
Oh, okay.
And this is for Yuri. So you took the Jamal question. I'm gonna take the Yuri question here. Do you think Yuri might want this fight on the ground?
I actually was gonna bring that up earlier. I thought
Okay.
we might see grappling, honestly. So
I don't know. Have we seen Jamal Hill grapple at all?
not really.
Yeah, and I mean,
Well, yeah, one time, and he got his arm broken.
yeah, like, that's true. We've seen Yuri though on the ground with Glover, and
Yeah.
I would be shocked if Jamal Hill was anywhere close to Glover on the ground.
Yeah.
Uh,
You know what? I'm
I
switching
just
my
thought
pick
about
to
that.
Yuri.
Oh boy,
I'm
all
doing
right.
it.
You're almost convincing me, but I'm gonna stay true. I'm
All
gonna
right.
stay true to Jamal here.
I'm going crazy with
We're
this.
split on the whole main card.
I know.
So far.
All right.
So far.
I'm going with
Moving
Yuri.
on.
Final answer.
Okay. All right. I'm sticking Jamal.
All
We're
right.
good.
All right. We got to
Moving
move
on.
on. We got to move on. All
We
right.
gotta move on.
So then, all right. Merab Vivalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Who do you have in this one, man?
I'm taking Umar. I think that's kind of the consensus pick right now. He's bigger, you know, and I don't think that the aggressiveness of Merab and the sheer number of shots that he's going to do is going to affect Umar as much as it would Sean O'Malley or Petr Yan.
Yeah.
I think that Umar is competent enough, maybe more competent on the ground than Merab in terms of technique and ability. I think Merab just has the heart and the cardio.
Yeah.
We know Merab's plan is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. We
Yep.
know what Merab's going to try to do
Yep.
because that's all he really can do.
Yeah.
And I think that another underrated part of this fight is how good Umar is on his feet.
Yes. Completely agree.
I'm leading in Umar, and I don't think it's crazy to say that Umar's going to have this belt for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think Umar wins. I think he takes it. I think he's more well-rounded, which I think is going to be like pivotal to beating Merab. Specifically, I think he's either as good, if not a better wrestler than Merab, like actual wrestler, instead of just
Well, that's what I was saying by technique and
Yeah.
ability rather
Yeah.
than, like, obviously we know Merab's cardio is unmatched.
Yep.
And I think Merab's cardio is better than Umar's.
Yep.
But I just don't know if Merab is going to get the chance to show that because Umar's fine on the ground, right? He's not
Yeah.
going to be fighting to get up every time. He is completely competent enough to handle Merab on the ground.
Yeah, and so
So-
he'll be way more confident in the striking, which a night
Yeah.
and day difference between the two. Merab cannot strike.
Yeah,
He's not very
that's
good
true.
at it. He has no
That's
punching
true.
power. Whereas, Umar has all of the advantage there. He'll have confidence on the feet. He won't have to worry as much about the takedown because he'll be able to handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think he'll be able to nullify Merab's grappling and keep it on the feet. And I think it's going to slow Marab down. I think we're going to see maybe in the first round it starts to really turn, and
Okay.
Marab starts to like go maybe the craziest amount of cardio we've ever seen from him in like the second round. And Umar just kind of handles him for that round, maybe loses it on control time, but like
Yep.
barely. And then in the third round, I think Marab starts to slow down, and Umar is really using because he has great kicks, and
Yep.
Marab is has a hard time dealing with those. And I think Umar will be able to start getting these kicks off, and it'll really keep Marab at a distance and slow him down, and probably put him in bad positions that we might even see a knockout from Umar. Because Marab is chinny. We've seen him
Really.
get hurt.
That's
I
true.
don't think Umar's going to have to or I don't think Umar will hesitate the way like Henry Cejudo did when he rocked Marab. Umar, I think if he hurts Marab, he will move in and go for the kill.
Well,
You know
that's
what I
kind of
mean?
the thing, right? Is that if you hurt Marab and don't knock him out, you have to get on the ground with Marab.
Yep.
And nobody really wants to do that. Uh, and we even kind of saw it with O'Malley. It looked like he was hesitant to move in after he would hit him with some shots in the fifth round.
Yeah.
And, and I, correct me if I'm wrong here, you picked O'Malley, right?
I did.
And
I thought for sure
yeah,
O'Malley was going to be able to catch him.
yeah. And I'm almost positive I had Marab. I think that was one of the main events that we were separate on. We're
Yeah.
usually pretty agreeable on the main event in
Yeah.
title fights, but I think that one was one that I can distinctly remember us being different
Yep.
on. And I think that it was more so about just I think that wrestling beats or wrestling will beat striking majority of the time. But in this case it's weird because Umar has maybe just as good wrestling. And I think you said he might even have better wrestling,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, I don't think it's even close on the feet.
Yeah. No
So,
contest there.
yeah, no, I think that's the right choice. And I think I was going to ask you, what is the Marab? How would you pick Marab to win this fight?
I genuinely don't know because I'm trying to think of a way that Marab wins this. Now I can't come up with anything because the only way he ever wins fights is with his like spam style, and
Yeah,
I don't think that'll be able to carry him to victory here because with the cardio thing and like holding people to the ground, he just wins off control time and just getting like holding them against the fence or against the mat or whatever.
sure.
And I don't think Umar will just get held there. I think he'll get out of it or move around and get, advantageous situations where at the very least he could reverse it and get on top and he'll start garnering control time. So like I don't think Marab will be able to just do the control time victory because I don't think he'll be able to garner any meaningful amount of control time. So I really don't see a path to victory here for Marab unless he can just hold Umar against the fence. But I just don't think that's gonna happen.
Well, I would. I'm hesitant to agree. I want to agree with you so bad, but there's also kind of the idea that Umar has not fought many top guys, right? He beat Corey, which is impressive, and Corey is good on the ground. He's a great striker, but I would say that Marab's better on the ground than Corey. Maybe that's just because of I think Marab's probably stronger than Corey, and the cardio is crazy out of
Yeah.
Marab. I don't think anyone's arguing that. But I that's what I'm kind of getting to here is that if they're right, obviously we know if Marab wins, he's probably not going to knock him out. He's probably not going to submit him. He's going to hold him. He's going to, ground and pound a little bit, win these rounds, maybe not even decisively, but, they're going to be it's going to be controversial, right? If Marab wins the fight, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We haven't seen much out of Umar. His fight against Corey was impressive. I was impressed. I picked Corey. I thought, I think a lot of us thought that Umar, he hasn't fought anybody. And he's getting this shot to be the number 2 guy. And he impressed us all. I don't Marab's different. I can't put it into terms really, but the cardio and the strength and the track record of Marab is leaning me to think that he could, but my heart's telling me to pick Umar.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but I still just, yeah. I think Umar has it. I just don't see a
Yeah,
path to
I
victory
do
for
too.
Marab.
I do too. But I don't know. The more I talk about it, I'm like, oh, Marab could do this. Marab could do it, but
Yeah, go ahead,
I can't.
pick it.
No, I
Let
can't.
my
I
record
can't.
be better than yours.
Yeah, right. We need to keep a track here. We
Ooh,
need
we
to write this
should.
down.
We
That'd be
should.
fun.
Yeah,
Go
we're gonna
over
have
it
to
every
do that.
breakdown.
Yeah, and then at the end of the year we can tally it up and give each
That's
other
great. That's a
shit.
good idea.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down.
All right, should we move on
All
to the
right,
main event?
main event.
Let's do it. I don't really have much to say for this, to be honest with you. It's just crazy
Yeah,
because it is a very complex kind of matchup. But like, I just, I just think Islam's gonna do it. I think Islam's that good. I think it'll be the hardest fight for him. I think it's the most difficult matchup stylistically for Islam. But you know, I think he can do it. I just think
he's
Islam's a
good.
bit better
Good.
everywhere.
Yeah, this is similar, I think, to the co-main in terms of this is the fight that everyone wants to see. And, I guess technically we've seen it, but this is on a different level compared to what happened, however many years ago.
Yep.
I'd pick it Islam. I will say I don't know if you went over yours or not, but I'm picking Islam in this.
No, I also
And
am
I
picking
and I
Islam.
like Armin. I like Armin a lot. We were just talking about it. I'm kind of glazing over his knockout of Dariush.
Yep.
But we've seen Armin, right, in the Charles fight. He got kind of caught up a little bit with Charles. And I mean, we've seen what Islam did to Charles.
Yeah.
So, I know MMA math doesn't work, but with Islam it kind of does because this guy doesn't lose.
Yeah.
But and then I'm thinking about it, Poirier kind of beat on Islam a little bit. And Armin's not bad on the feet.
Yeah, but I will counter that Islam is on the feet, striking with and or outstriking people like Volkanovski, Charles,
And Poirier.
and
He
Poirier,
he
and Armin
he out
Sarukian
he outstruck
knocked out
Poirier.
Beneil Dariush. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, the knockout's crazy though. I think that's maybe I'm holding that a little too high, higher than I should, because it was Beneil Dariush.
yeah,
But I know I could totally see there's going to be a finish in this fight. I don't think this fight goes to decision. I think it's either going to be you know, a a normal Islam fight, right, where he just
yeah,
beats him up and then takes him to the ground and finishes it,
yeah.
or we could see something crazy from Armin. I mean,
I've been getting
I,
this
I don't
feeling.
I don't want to count him out, but
Yeah,
I can't pick against Islam.
I've been getting this vibe. I don't even know what to pick because I'm like the sensible thing for me is decision, just because they're both so good that it's
Yeah.
like how are they going to be able to outdo the other? But I'm getting this vibe that we're about to witness something insane. Like this is
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
one of
no,
those. This is gonna be like the oh shit title fight of the year.
I
don't know
think
why.
I think the UFC did this on purpose. Marab Umar is probably going to be boring. It's
Yeah,
gonna,
I
it's
agree.
going to
Yes,
be boring.
I agree.
But Armin Islam, in my head, there's no way this goes to decision. I see, like I said, either a regular Islam fight in terms of he just beats him up and then takes him to the ground, or we could even see something on the feet like we did with Volk too. But
Yeah.
if Armin wins this fight, it's gonna be something nuts.
Yeah,
I don't think Armin's gonna get to the decision with him. I think Armin's gonna pull off some crazy submission because he can, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen Islam kind of get beat up a little bit.
Well,
He's been caught.
if you look at it, I mean, Islam's a much better submission artist than Armin. So, I think if the submission's gonna
Yeah.
happen, I think it's gonna be on Islam's doing. Again, I just think Islam's better. You know what I mean? Like it's hard, and I'm trying to really think about it too, because like a lot of people, I don't. To be honest with you, this is a personal thing because I'm a little bit biased,
Yep.
but like I don't know why people hold the second Volk victory so highly for Islam, especially as a knockout, because it's like the dude
Yeah.
had 13 days notice and a horrible weight cut. I don't know why
Well,
people talk about that so highly. Yes, it's Volk, I get it, but like, and this is coming from
I
a
don't
Volk
even know if
fan,
it's
but-
so much as being from Volk. Okay, here would be my explanation. Is these guys from Dagestan are notorious for their grappling.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And we see Islam go out there and head kick somebody, right?
Yeah.
Who did Khabib head kick?
no, that's just it. It's,
Who are these guys head
yeah,
kicking?
yeah,
And I think that there is the factor of it was Volk, and Volk was number one pound for pound or whatever it
Yep.
was, right? And
Yep.
and so there's the name value of that.
Yep.
But I think it's too just the fact that we've seen Islam dominate on the ground, and now he's head kicking people. We're like, oh no,
Yep.
right? And so I'll be honest, before the Volk fight, whenever we had the idea of Armin, I was picking Armin, bro. And that is crazy because it was totally based off the Beneil knockout.
Yeah.
But after the head kick, I'm leaning toward Islam because I think it's the deciding factor of this guy is good everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well, for
I
me,
don't know.
it's not only is he good everywhere, he's proven everywhere. You know what I mean? With Armin
Well,
Sarukian, like
I
Armin
think that's what the
Sarukian's
head
good,
kick
but
did. I think that's what the head kick did because it wasn't just against anybody, right? Or even a guy that's ranked, right? Because there's a clear difference from the number 9, 10 guy and then the champion.
sure.
And there's difference, in my opinion, from champions to a guy like Volkanovski.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't I don't know because we saw him KO Bobby Green, and
Yeah.
that's it's Bobby Green.
Yeah.
But then a KO over Volk, there's some weight that Volk holds in that,
Yeah.
and I think that's why people hold it over so high. And then we saw him competitive and beat Poirier on the feet,
Yeah.
and that is, in my opinion, more impressive than the Volk win.
Yeah.
So
Well, because that was full camp Poirier. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, and it was Poirier with a vengeance. Poirier last shot. That was kind of the thing, right? Is
Yeah.
like this is his third shot at this belt. This is his time, and I'm a big Poirier guy,
Oh yeah.
and I think that he gets his respect in terms of everyone saying he's the best fighter to never have the belt.
Oh
But
yeah.
man, I feel bad for that guy. He ran into Khabib, Charles, and Islam. Oh,
Yeah. It's tough.
that's
So
that's unfortunate. But I'm leaning, not even leaning. I'm picking Islam.
I am too.
But I could totally see, like I said, I know I asked you about the Marab, if there was a way that Marab wins the fight,
Yep.
and I could see Armin pulling out something crazy.
Oh yeah. No,
I think Armin is very good.
Yeah, I'm confident in my pick of Islam, but I'm also super confident that I could be wrong. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no, I agree. I
I don't
I
know.
keep talking myself into these other fights, and I'm like, no,
Gotta make your
because
final pick, man.
I've picked Armin before. I don't know if we've talked about it.
Yeah.
I feel like we have,
Oh, yeah.
but I've picked Armin in this fight before.
Yeah.
But after the Poirier fight, I can't go anywhere but Islam.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take Islam. So we do agree on that. So
Yep.
we have 3 differences
Yep.
that we get to count up here.
It'll be
after, but
It'll be fun.
yeah, I guess I'll leave it at this. I think that there's a better chance of Armin beating Islam than Merab beating Umar. If that's crazy.
Oh no, I think that's probably true.
Okay. I think it's more so for the shock factor that we know Merab does not have,
Yeah.
and Armin can have. I mean, is it shocking what he did to Beneil? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it shocking what he did to Charles? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. He got caught up with Charles too. So.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun, man. It's
I
gonna
know.
be
I'm
so
ready
fun.
for this. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be
It's
great.
gonna be so good. All right, well, we'll end it there.
That's it.
Thanks for
That's
joining
it.
us, everybody. Be sure to leave in the comments below your picks and predictions and tell us why we are wrong with ours and if we're stupid. Yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the fights
Let's
this weekend.
go.